brother! Ba-dum, ba-dum! Holy cow, Jay, how on earth have we not talked about the new Incredibles 2 trailer yet? The Incredibles is my all-time favorite Pixar movie, and we finally have something more than just a concept drawing poster to go off of. And I think my biggest question coming into it is like, how is Jack going to have a role in this movie? He seems to be kind of at the center of all of the marketing, but he's also just a baby, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they do that. But we have just so much to unpack, so let's just dive right on in. Guys, welcome to Super Carlin Brothers, where we spend way too much time dissecting movie trailers. If that seems like the type of thing you'd be into, maybe just hit that subscribe button. But holy sandwiches, brother, this movie looks like it's going to be incredible. Nah, too easy. Okay, but how about this one? It's definitely late.
15 years too late.
Okay, only 14, but I'm glad we got that joke out of the way. In any case, I've been waiting 14 years for this movie, and I've just been like hoping the entire time that they could just somehow figure out some way for Syndrome to not be dead, because he was just such a great villain, and I'll tell you what, I think I figured it out. What if Dash is Syndrome? Think about it. He's a speedster. In almost every comic iteration of a speedster ever, they have the ability to time travel. Dash is cocky and wants to be involved in the action.
We want to fight bad guys.
What if he gets so frustrated that he just runs directly back into time to a period when supers are actually celebrated and wants to work just alongside his dad? I mean, think about it. He even says,
"Are you curious about how I get around so fast?"
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not rocket boots, just normal run-of-the-mill born into super speed abilities. And, well, also probably rocket boots too. He is, after all, wearing rocket boots. But he could totally not even be his real name. He says that too.
My name is not Buddy!
And we don't know where his dad is. Dash and Syndrome totally look alike, and they even share like the exact same sentiment. Not to mention, The Incredibles 2 is introducing a new character called Void, who is a huge fan of Elastigirl, but also has the ability to create voids that can basically make objects disappear and reappear. Disappear to where though? Or should I say, when? Unless, what if Dash is Syndrome's father? Time traveled even further back into the past, had a son, and then had to make his way back to the future. Couldn't bring his son with him, obviously, keeping him safe and all. Isn't that just like always the reason? Buddy would have trace memories of a father with superpowers. It would explain his missing father / daddy issues, and his obsession with supers, and why he looks up to a superhero that he doesn't even realize is his grandfather. It's all connected. Probably not. Although, no, yeah, we should probably talk about the trailer. So far, this movie kind of looks like it could be Mr. Mom, the animated version, plus superpowers. Although after watching Jay and Beth be parents, I'm not sure that parents just aren't superheroes anyway. It looks essentially like a reverse of the first movie, where instead of Helen staying home with the kids, she's the one out doing things, and instead of it being secret like last time, it's like super public. Specifically Elastigirl though, and not Mrs. Incredible. I guess she never really got around to changing her moniker. I don't blame her at all. That's like a whole trip down to the super DMV, filling out all sorts of super paperwork. Who has the time? Nobody, especially because they're super slower down there. The thing we know for sure about this movie is that it's going to be picking up exactly where the other one left off, with the Underminer basically coming up through the floor of the city. At the end of the last movie, it really seemed like we were going to see the whole family actually fight crime together, but in the trailer it seemed more of a, great kids, you proved yourselves last time and brought your suits, but now just sit here quietly while we go do the thing.
Trampoline me!
By the way, not recommended to trampoline people in real life. In fact, it sounds like they might not even win the fight against the Underminer. In the trailer, we hear like Bob land in front of him and say, "So we meet again." We meet again. Then he gets sucked into a vacuum, but I'm pretty sure he was going to say again. This is the kind of hard-hitting stuff we uncover here at Super Carlin Brothers. But meaning that either the Underminer is a villain from way back in the day, or that they don't actually defeat him on the first try. Also, the Bank of Municiberg really needs to get better security. This is the second time we've seen it get broken into. That really doesn't instill a whole lot of trust into your customers. Bank. My guess though is that it's the former, and Mr. Incredible being sucked into the vacuum is going to be kind of like when Hercules gets eaten by the Hydra. In any case, I don't actually believe that the Underminer is going to be the key villain in this movie even at all. Actually, I feel like the closest thing that we get to a suggestion about what the plot will actually be about is this guy basically calling Elastigirl back into action. This guy's name, in case you don't know, because they don't mention it in the trailer, is Winston Dever, or Deaver. He is one half of a brother-sister duo that own a company called DevTech, or DevTech. Winston is a huge fan of the supers and wants to return them to the limelight, and co-runs the company with his sister, Evelyn. We haven't gotten a good look at Evelyn yet, but we know that she is the brainchild of the company who is very good with tech and hasn't met a problem she couldn't solve yet. Here's where things get tricky though, because just look at the artwork that they've released on these two characters. Which one would you guess is the villain? Yeah, Winston looks like the bad guy. Just look at the way he's like leaning back in his chair, throwing that ball back and forth. Be honest, I look deadly now, don't I? Available at dftba.com. Not to mention he's being voiced by Saul Goodman, known morally gray lawyer. The actor's real name is Bob Odenkirk, but I feel like they're kind of relying on your association with this guy as sort of a bad guy to paint him as the villain. And I say paint him because I have a feeling they're doing the old Big Hero 6 bait and switch, where the smarmy businessman is made to look like the villain when it's actually dun 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 his sister Evelyn. Her name, Evelyn Deaver, sounds nice until you see it written on paper and realize that it actually spells out evil endeavor. I wonder who the bad guy is. Except you know that they knew that we'd notice that. Gosh, they're good. The other new potential option for the villain would be Void, the portal-powered character we mentioned earlier. It would be kind of following in the footsteps of the first film a little bit, where you've got this young, super enthusiastic super who very much idolizes Elastigirl. My money is still on Evelyn though, and I actually have a theory about how she's going to be the villain. In the trailer, we see Lucius talking to Bob and Helen because he's been approached by a company that wants to bring the supers back, and I'm assuming that's DevTech. This is curious for a couple reasons. The first being, it kind of seemed like Lucius was totally okay with civilian life.
I wanted to go bowling!
And it seems like despite the ending of the original Incredibles, being a super is still illegal.
Superheroes are illegal.
Even when he jumps into the battle against the Omnidroid, it really seems like because he's mostly realizing that there's just no other option. So why is he all of a sudden so excited about the prospect of getting back into hero work? Here's our theory. We don't think he is. Just look at his face here when he's talking to Bob and Helen about being contacted by DevTech. Like, it actually looks a little devious, and the shot overall is kind of dark. So how can we start connecting all of these dots? Jack has to somehow be relevant to the plot. The kids have to somehow get involved with the fight despite their parents not wanting them to. Winston should look like the bad guy but somehow not be. And Evelyn, the tech genius, will emerge as the real enemy. Although I'm still kind of holding out hope for Syndrome, but for the time being, let's just assume that's not true. Unless, no, you know, death by exploding jet seems to usually stick. My theory is that Evelyn has developed some kind of tech that allows her to control the mind. And I believe that she's using it on Lucius, and that's why he all of a sudden has this urge to step back into the limelight. I think they're keeping Bob on the bench on purpose, and it's going to be in this scene when Lucius is kind of checking in on the family, when Jack's powers are going to unexpectedly disengage the mind control device through an unexpected lightning surge storm. Gosh, babies seem hard.
They really are.
It's gonna be okay. Lucius can then reveal everything that he knows to Bob, and oh my gosh, Helen is about to do something terrible but doesn't even realize it because she's being manipulated by DevTech. And when Bob then tries to reveal this information to Helen, she's going to get mad because he's going to be coming across as jealous and unsupportive of her newfound status. Meanwhile, if we go back to that original concept art for The Incredibles 2, we can see a bunch of supers flying around in the background, which kind of makes me think that DevTech is going to have an army of mind-controlled supers. And how do you fight an army of mind-controlled supers? Recruit your kids. Ba-dum, bum, ba-dum! Jay, my question for you and everyone else is, what do you think? Who will be the villain of this movie? Do you think Syndrome could come back? Because that would be amazing. Leave your thoughts in the towel section down below.
Super Carlin Psych Club!
Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. In case you didn't know, Jay is in fact a newfound dad, and he's documenting the entire experience right here. Or if you would just like to hear more about why we think Syndrome is like the best Pixar villain ever, you can click right here. But Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.